AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor and Buddy Ray.
Well, good morning, race fans, and welcome to the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That is karting with a K. Get to Joe's today. What do you guys what's going on in May, big guy?
I think we're going to follow the Marcus Ambrose and Casey Mears routine, and we're going to set up a boxing ring.
Oh, okay.
You know, do something different.
I've got boxing gloves at home, so I can come down and watch.
I see your face every week. It looks like you've been boxing every week.
Hey, I shaved. I look good today.
Yeah, okay.
I found a razor.
Yeah. No, I just want to clear everything up. We do not have a boxing ring going on at Joe's.
Although some nights, even though it's a recreational thing, it's friends going out there, it's still competitive.
It's competitive as all get out.
People still take it way too personal, and I've been there several times where people have gotten out of the car, and your track guys have had to run over and stop something.
We turn in from track marshals to WWE referees.
It's ridiculous, but 23rd Avenue at Council Bluffs, do yourself a favor. Avoid the construction when you are crossing over the bridge.
Oh, is it horrible?
Just a tad. Head towards the Ameristar Casino. Get off on, the Nebraska Avenue exit?
Yep.
And then follow 23rd Avenue. You'll see Quaker Steak and Lube there, Ameristar, the AMC Theaters, and then there's Joe's right next to it.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming on down the pipeline. I mean, if you... We have a lot of team outings going on right now, a lot weddings. Good God. May and June. Every year, May and June, we have a lot of spring weddings, so we got the bachelorette outings coming in. We got the bachelor groups coming on in. Come on in. Don't buy into all that WWE stuff. It's not that bad. More times a night, probably 9.95 times out of 10, you're going to see good times going on.
It's a lot of fun. And we are taking one instances out of you guys have been open for 6 years now?
5 years.
5 years now, so it's,
we're just making fun of NASCAR, yeah.
And to be honest with you, the occasion I was talking about involved Josh Most, so nobody's shocked there.
And it's not that Josh was fighting somebody. The last time I heard about Josh Most wrestling around at the racetrack, he was on his back, but we'll talk to Josh later.
The person that put him on his back was his girlfriend. That was funny. All right, big show lined up for you today. In turn one, we're going to talk some news and notes since we haven't had a NASCAR race or a dirt track race since we talked to you last. We're just going to kind of get you up to date on some of the news and notes that's going on around the NASCAR and dirt track community. Turn number two, we're going to talk with Pat Warren of Kansas Speedway. It's time to talk to him.
Love talking to him.
I do want to remind you, by the way, you're banned with the puns. I know you're going to want to do some because of the night race. You're banned with the puns.
We're just going to shed some light on the situation.
No, you're banned with the puns. Turn three, we're going to just kind of continue some different conversations, some topics. Goodyear met with Michelin. Wait, not...
Goodyear met with Michelin.
NASCAR met with Michelin. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about just some kind of topics that have kind of peaked up. So news in turn one, and then just kind of an opinion segment in turn number three. In turn number four, we'll get you ready for Talladega Super Speedway. According to Fox, you're going to see rubbing, you're going to see beating, you're going to see banging, but we're going to be at commercials, so you're not actually going to see it.
Yeah.
And maybe in turn three, I'll be able to vent some of my frustrations with that terrible broadcast partner that is known as Fox Sports. But we'll move on to turn number one, news and notes. The big one of the week, you kind of hinted towards it earlier. Penalties came down on Tuesday for Marcus Ambrose and Casey Mears for their little scuffle in the pits after the race on Saturday night at Richmond. Marcus Ambrose fined $25,000, placed on NASCAR probation until May 28th. Casey Mears fined $15,000 and also placed on probation until May 28th. Now, there was a lot of conversation about when you're watching that video, you can see that Marcus almost seems to get cheap-shotted from a crew member or somebody in the pits. And Kerry Tharp, one of the directors at NASCAR, did release a statement saying, we talked to Marcus Ambrose, and he does not have any recollection of being struck during the altercation. So that's the reason why there wasn't any fines handed out for the supposed punch, because Marcus, the guy who would have gotten punched, effectively 50% of the party involved in that said punch said that it never happened. So there was nothing that needed to be done there. My question to you is, does this violate the boys have at it?
No, I love it. Show the raw emotion.
I'm saying that when NASCAR came out with this boys have at it theory, saying that you can rub and race and beat and bang and pay back on the track, and we're not going to fine you, Does this violate that because these two guys were showing their emotion? It came to fisticuffs, but does this violate NASCAR's policy? Or do you feel it violates NASCAR's policy? I don't think so either. I think there's a definite line of moving somebody on the racetrack and getting them out of your way, or paying them back, or beating them bang. I'm going to take Brad Keselowski at Martinsville. What he did to Kurt Busch, that's boys have at it. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think Marcus Ambrose throwing a punch was over the line because, to be honest with you, I kind of felt like, no pun intended, honestly, that was kind of a black eye on the sport. I think it's fun, it's for drama, it's good for conversation, but I don't want that to be the lead on ESPN SportsCenter. Well,
you don't want to be the lead on ESPN SportsCenter, but as a driver myself, and we all know that I can have a temper from time to time at the track. That's something, actually, not to go in a different direction, but that's something that we addressed as a team actually this week, that and with some of my sponsors. But with that being said, this sport is so competitive and the emotions run so high. I'm not going to say it's okay to come to fisticuffs, but it wouldn't shock me. I mean, if you think this is the only time that the drivers have ever come to fisticuffs, part of it makes me wonder if this didn't get to where it's at now because that, we got to see it on TV. Had the videos never came out, had the TV crew not been in the right place at the right time, and this would have happened away from everybody else, would there have been stiff fines handed out?
The answer to that is yes, because remember Richard Childress punched Kyle Busch after a truck race a few years ago. I think it was at Kansas. That was never on film. There was never even evidence of it, and Richard Childress was fined $150,000.
Well,
so to answer your question, yes.
When you talk about that, so I want to go back to the 1979. What was it, the Daytona race or the Talladega race? The infamous fight in the infield. Mm-hmm. What were their fines back then? I would love to know that.
And granted, that's a different time though. Back then,
different time, same sport.
Yeah, but different time. I mean. Well, let's take a major news story right now in the NBA. The LA Clippers racist owner, 50 years ago, when it was a different time, but the same sport, the same television networks, had that gotten out, it was a whole different world back then. And those comments are not tolerated today. And punching and fighting in the pits is not what NASCAR wants. I'm
not saying that the punching and fighting is okay. It just doesn't shock me that it's happened.
No, me neither. So do you think NASCAR was right to fine these guys?
Yeah, but at a cost of $15,000 or $20,000 each, I think that's a little excessive.
Really?
Yeah.
Off their paychecks? That's excessive. I mean, the point of a fine is to prove a point. If you fine them $200 when they're making $2, $3, and I don't know what their contracts are.
Well, let's think about this:
$2-3 million a year.
What's more important, $20,000 or 25 or 50 driver points?
Oh, that'd be way overboard. Way overboard.
You want to make a point? Make a point.
No, I don't think they want to. I think they were just simply saying, guys, we don't fight. Because Jeff Gordon and Clint Boyer both were fined for their actions at Phoenix. I'm trying to think of other fights that have actually come to blows. What was it? Nelson Piquet Jr. got kneed or kicked? No, it was Brian Scott got kicked in the old Family Jewels after a nationwide race by Nelson Piquet Jr., and I believe Nelson Piquet Jr. was penalized. There's a difference between pushing and shoving, having your arguments, and actually throwing a punch. And honestly, in my views, I think this was the perfect scenario for everything. I think Marcus Ambrose was completely within the rights to clock Casey Mears for what Casey did. I thought Casey was completely out of line by grabbing him and shoving him like that. And I think NASCAR got their point across without being excessive or too light. $25,000 for the guy who threw the punch, $15,000 for the guy who instigated the situation in the pits. I think story done, said, it's all done with. In fact, Casey and Marcus have already talked, and it's all they're fine.
Yeah,
they're clear. And Casey said it on.
And quite honestly, had there been no fines, no probation come down, those guys, a few days later would have been talking anyways. I don't know how many times I've seen in the pits that people have gotten punched or, cars have been driven into, and there's been fines and probations and whatnot set forth, but more times than not, 3 or 4 days later, same drivers are usually drinking an adult beverage after the races. Well, other pretty good shot you got on me there, Bill.
Yeah.
I mean,
but they never forget. That's the thing.
They never forget. No.
They'll smile and they'll be cordial and they'll get along because you got to save your car. But a situation arises where payback can be had. It'll be had.
It'll be had.
All right, number 2, the big story of the week. Juan Pablo Montoya will be making his return to NASCAR for Team Penske. He'll be driving the number 12 car for SKF, who has been a sponsor for Penske for a few years now. Montoya will be driving at Michigan and Michigan and Indianapolis, and they're expected that he'll also join in for the Watkins Glen race also.
Do you think this is going to be a short-term endeavor? Do you think this could open up the door for him to go full-time to Penske? Good question.
It's a tough answer. I know that he was not happy with the way he left Earnhardt Ganassi Racing. Let's just put yourself in his shoes. The guy's won everywhere. He's won everything. Literally everything.
Except NASCAR. He's won a couple of times in NASCAR, but he never really got it. And let's face it, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing was a completely different team last year than they are this year. Oh, yeah.
And I was having this conversation with Jim Laughlin, one of the guys who's one of the Pick'em contest competitors, and he said, "Is this going to be good?" We were just having a little conversation about it, and I kind of went back and forth and thought, yes, Earnhardt Ganassi Racing is a different organization, but I honestly think 50% of that is the guy they now have driving the 42. It's one thing when you've got somebody who doesn't have any experience driving a closed wheel car, a stock car. He comes from open wheel, which is a different environment, which is a different everything.
Oh, absolutely.
To somebody who has a lot of experience driving cars like that.
We see this in dirt racing a lot. You'll see guys that are in the modifieds that, I'm not saying that they can't get out of the way. I mean, they're not top 5 guys, and everybody's like, man, these guys don't drive very well. They're 15th at best, but all of a sudden you go put them in a sprint car and they're setting the world on fire.
Yeah.
There's some driving styles in some classes that suit guys better than others, and I think this is a case with Juan Pablo Montoya. Yeah. I don't see this as a door opening for him to come back full-time to Penske.
Yeah, I agree. I think I would agree with that, but I think if he would be successful, that Penske would entertain the idea, because let's face it, he has 2 incredibly successful drivers in his stable right now. And if he can get a third driver in there, that if he can get the sponsorship sold, that's always the case, is Can you get the sponsorship dollars? He's got them, so he's going to put him in for 2 rides right now. He'd be dumb not to try to get him one for Watkins Glen or even Sonoma that's coming up. So we'll see what happens with that.
How good of a fit would the Penske Montoya full-time endeavor be? Is that a good fit for both sides?
Yes.
The way you go,
I just think that Juan Pablo, his driving style, I just think that he just can't get the hang of a stock car, and I don't see him getting the hang of it. I could be wrong. Maybe I am. I don't know. But we'll see. We've run out of time for turn number 1. Just around the corner, we're going to talk with Pat Warren of Kansas Speedway. The big race coming up this Saturday night, the 5-Hour Energy 400 at Kansas Speedway. We'll talk to Pat about all the exciting new changes at Kansas Speedway, all the new ways they've made it to be interactive. And boy, I tell you what, we always champion them for being interactive and fun, but they've upped the ante this time. They effectively turned it up to 11. It's up to 11 now. So we'll talk to Pat Warren, and then in turn 3, I want to talk about Goodyear and Michelin. What's going on with NASCAR and Michelin? Could we possibly see something going on? We'll talk about that in turn number 3. Is it time for a new tire supplier in NASCAR? We'll be back in just a little bit here on the front stretch.
Driving home from work, you try to beat your best time. Even though your neighbor started mowing first, you finish first. And when you see the shortest checkout line, you race to it. That's because there's a race fan in all of us. Experience a different kind of race at Iowa Speedway on May 18th for the NASCAR Nationwide Series 250. Tickets start at $20. Buy your tickets at iowaspeedway.com or call 866-RUSTY-GO.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube has been voted festival favorite once again at the National Buffalo Wing Festival. Visit Quaker Steak and Lube for our Best Wings USA, sauced your way.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
This is Andrew from Kaziski Auto Parts. Kaziski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kaziski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kaziski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kaziski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
We're working the High Line into Turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the front stretch, heading into turn number 2, brought to you by Kaziski Auto Parts, online at KaziskiAutoparts.com. We're talking with Pat Warren, the president of Kansas Speedway. Pat, we appreciate you once again taking the time out of your day to talk to us a little bit.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen.
Well, Pat, we always do like talking to you. You've always got some fun and interesting things to talk about, and it's always a full segment because you guys have so much going on at Kansas. Obviously, the big story for you guys is that you were able to change up your schedule a little bit for 2014, and we're going to go under the lights. My first thought is, what do you have to do differently for a Saturday night race as opposed to a Sunday afternoon race?
Well, the biggest thing we've done night races before. We've had ARCA races the last several years at night, and so those are smaller scale events, but similar in terms of the preparation. Probably the biggest change we get is it's longer days, and so like on Saturday, instead of opening our parking lots at 6 a.m., we open them at noon. Mm-hmm. Instead of opening the grandstand gates at 8, we're opening them at 3. And it's just you just take that whole day and sort of push it back later in the day, and then obviously you're working late into the night.
Mm-hmm. You've got some big things on the horizon you guys have released this year, and one thing I've been playing with quite a bit is your guys' new mobile app.
Yeah, we have a new website and a new mobile app, and they're both great. The website, is designed more for somebody using a laptop or a desktop. The mobile app is something you can use on property. And people that follow us on Twitter or Facebook, we push out a lot through social media, and you can really learn things. We occasionally, the last 2 years, I've given away hot garage passes on the infield, and we've done that by notifying people through Twitter.
Well, that's pretty awesome. One thing I loved about that mobile app was, and this is kind of one of those dumb little things that I love that I think was a great idea to add it in there, is to mark where you parked.
Right.
I need that really bad.
Our parking lots are pretty big, and it's basically big grass fields. And while we do have signs out there, it's easy, especially if, and I've heard some people do have a beer or two at the race.
Huh.
If you go in and you enjoy yourself when you come back out, you may not remember if you were in lot 13 or lot 12, and when it's, 10 acres of parking, you don't want to walk around looking for your car.
5 Hour Energy was able to come on board and be your guys' sponsor for the Saturday night race coming up tonight. Coming up this Saturday night. Green flag at 6:30. For the 5 Hour Energy 400. That's got to be a big win for you guys. That's a big sponsor.
It is. It's exciting not only because it ties in with a Kansas driver, Clint Boyer, but it's also the race is benefiting the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, and we do a lot with the military. We're going to have literally thousands of soldiers from the Kansas National Guard area bases, including Fort Riley, which is in near Junction City, Kansas, the Big Red One, out for the race. And so when we're able to do something like this that ties in to the military community, in this case, the Special Operations Warrior Foundation, it's really neat.
Is there going to be a kind of a display out front that people can get more information on that?
I don't know exactly what 5 Hours plans are related to that, but there will be. The Kansas National Guard will have a big presence, and we'll have other branches of the military represented as well. I don't know exactly what the Special Operations Warrior Foundation has planned yet.
And if my math's correct, that's going to be Clint Boyer's 300th Cup start?
You are correct, and I assume you've been counting every start.
Of course, of course.
But yeah, it's his 300th start, and obviously he would love to get a win at what he considers to be his home track in the Sprint Cup Series. He's won here in the Truck Series, but never with Sprint Cup.
What else do you guys have lined up? I know there's always a lot of fun things you guys have lined up for Sundays on race day, so everything gets transferred back about 12 hours. Concerts, fun special events? Yeah,
we have a pre-race concert, and we've got driver introductions that start early. And basically what happens is you do, like I said, we push the day back. The grandstand gates open at 3. I don't have the concert time in front of me, but it's a country star, Brett Eldridge, who was up for the New Country Artist of the Year. Will be performing our pre-race concert on Saturday, May 10th, late afternoon. It's probably about a 4 o'clock show, I would guess, with the 5:30 start. I may be off a little bit. And anybody with a track pass, any of our season ticket holders, actually can go down on the track. They can sign the start-finish line. People sign the crash wall. They get right up close to the drivers. Now, not everybody gets to high-five Dale Jr., but some people do, and the drivers are really good about getting in and engaging with our fans.
As I'm sitting here looking at your website, Mr. Warren, it's really easy to navigate. It's pretty self-explanatory. Couple things I want, if you can go into detail a little bit. The season package tickets and the youth tickets. I mean, I'm looking at, like, on the youth tickets, Dan, I can take my son to a NASCAR Cup race for $29.
Wow.
I mean, I wonder if I could pass for 10 years old.
It's the youth tickets are something that we think are important. NASCAR is rooted in families and family values, and so something that we wanted to do. We can't take our entire grandstands and sell every ticket as a youth ticket, but we took specific sections. They're all good seats. Every seat at our track has a view to the entire racetrack, which isn't the case at all NASCAR tracks. Sometimes you've got obstructed views or you can't see the backstretch. Here, every seat you can see the entire track. And so we took about 12 sections of our grandstands and made them youth sections, and we've sold a lot of tickets. I don't know if we're going to sell out those sections, but we're going to come close.
So youth tickets for and what's the age range on those youth tickets, by the way?
It's 12 and under.
Okay.
And then for a Friday night's race, if you want to sit in those sections on May 9th, it's a $15 ticket for youth, and the adult ticket's only $35.
And that's for a NASCAR Camp and World Truck Series ticket, and that's
right.
Buddy, you were mentioning it. You can't get into some dirt track specials for that cheap.
No. I mean, I know of dirt tracks where just to get in to watch the races, you're going to be paying $30, $35.
Yeah.
A person, and that's regardless of age. So when you have a NASCAR track that steps up and says, look, we want to get the kids in here, you get the kids in there. Then now, unless the laws of evolution have changed, to have a kid, you got to have 2 adults. I mean, so you get the kids in there, you're probably going to get 2 adults.
Yeah.
So now, your merchandise sales have gone up, your concession sales have gone up. This is a brilliant move on Kansas Speedway's part.
Yeah, and for us, because we allow people to bring in their own food and drink through the gates and parking's free, the economic model is a little bit different for us. It's not like it might be for another sport where you do get all those benefits from a merchandise perspective and other things. For us, it's really much more about introducing young people to the sport, having them come out, have a great experience, spend time with their parents or a guardian. They may come out with a friend's parent or something else, but it's really about trying to create the next generation of NASCAR fans.
Dan, we've talked to some other NASCAR tracks, and we're talking with Pat Warren here on the Front Stretch on AM 590 Omaha's ESPN Radio. We just got done talking to you, Pat, about the youth tickets. I'm looking at the season package, and there's something here that really piques my curiosity. So you get tickets to all 4 NASCAR races. You get an exclusive infield access on NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race day, automatic entry for a chance to win exclusive NASCAR experiences, and then I got the bells going off, and Dan, I can call you out. An opportunity to drive on the track. We go buy season tickets, we'll go race your Ranger against my Dodge on the track.
Yeah, and I don't have the dates in front of me. I believe it's in July that we're doing that. I think it's July 11th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, but don't hold me to that. We will actually have our ticket holders, and we'll send out passes for this but you'll have an opportunity to come out and drive your own car on the track. It is paced. We put the pace car in front. We put a vehicle in the back because it doesn't take people very long to figure out if you lag behind the pace car. Well, then you can gun it and get up to what are effectively unsafe speeds. And so we have to sort of bunch the cars together, but people come out and just absolutely have a great time. We're doing it under the lights, so you get to do it at night.
Wow.
It's going to be 2 nights and I think a Saturday morning. And so it's really a neat experience, and our season ticket holders absolutely love it.
We're talking with Pat Warren of Kansas Speedway. Get your tickets now, kansasspeedway.com, for the Saturday night race coming up. It's going to be an absolutely awesome time. I'm really excited about it. Pat, we do this little pick'ems contest where some of our fans have been picking NASCAR drivers to win races, and I was wanting to know if you could give us any insights to any teams that have come and tested before this Saturday's race that maybe they have a little bit of an upper hand that somebody else doesn't.
We had a tire test 2 weeks ago, and we had representatives from almost every team. We had 15 cars here, which is a great response for a tire test. And so I don't know. I didn't see the times of the teams, and it's sort of tough when you're testing tires to figure out, what that means in terms of competition. But we had Kevin Harvick was here. We had Brad Keselowski here. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was here. Trying to think. We had Martin Truex. We had I'm trying to walk through the garage in my head.
It's a long walk, and I can't believe you do it in cowboy boots.
But we had 15 cars, and we had a great test. I don't know that I would tell you that anybody has an advantage over anybody else necessarily, because our track, because it's young but aging quickly. I would say the teams that can adapt well are going to have an advantage, because the track's going to be different than it was last fall, different than it was last spring, and it's also going to change day into night. And so, I'd look at people that have done well at other night races, because we start the race, as you mentioned it, and I believe it's 6:30, and the race starts at 6:30 when it won't be dark, and then we race into the night, and so the temperatures cool off, and the performance of the cars change. They behave differently as night falls. And so teams, like Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus are sort of famous for being able to make changes on the fly. And Jimmy's done well here in the past. So he's somebody that I think, he hadn't won yet. It's important to win with the new chase format. But I think, Clinton Carl, I know would give just about anything to win here. And they both run well here in the past. So, I can't pick a favorite, but, people who can adapt are going to be the most likely to win.
Pat, you're talking about that tire testing that they did here a couple of weeks ago. Just out of curiosity, I don't see it on the website, and you guys may not announce that, but can people actually come out and just watch when they test the cars at Kansas?
For the tire test, the answer is generally no. Goodyear doesn't like to have people watching that, because it truly is a closed testing environment. We did have some media availability at noon on that day, and people can watch. In our case, we're truly unique in the sense that we've got a casino on Turn 2, and so the casino opened up the Turn 2 sports bar, and people can watch from up there. But we don't open up the grandstand. We've done, when we did our first tire test after the track was repaved, we worked with Goodyear, and we did open up the grandstands. And to be honest, it costs us so much to do that. For the relatively small number of fans that came out, it doesn't really make sense for us to do.
That would make sense.
Met the tire test, if I could ask you, and I know you were just talking about it's kind of a closed session, but do you know if Goodyear is deciding to bring back the multi-groove technology tire, or are they going to go with a different one?
I think they are bringing back the multi-zone tire, and they've used that at other mile-and-a-halfs this year. I don't know the specific compound. I haven't talked to Rick Campbell, who was the guy from Goodyear who was here. But they were trying to understand, really, honestly, both for this upcoming race and for our October race, what they wanted to do and what they needed for the best tire to create the most competitive racing possible.
We've been talking with Pat Warren of Kansas Speedway, kansasspeedway.com for all your ticket information. Guys, if you haven't been down to Kansas Speedway yet, it's time to get off your butts. It's the 5-Hour Energy 400. I guarantee you will have an absolutely heck of a time down at Kansas Speedway. You guys do a fantastic job keeping people entertained from the second you walk into the gates to the second that the races are over with and the confetti is done flying in victory lane.
Yeah, well, this year there'll be fireworks too.
Oh, yes.
There'll be a neat fireworks show at the end of the race. We're excited about that. And it's, NASCAR, a NASCAR night race, I tell people the best analogy I can give them, and I think in Nebraska people can probably appreciate, what a Huskers game is at night. But this is NASCAR meets Monday Night Football.
Yeah.
And I think that's the environment that people will feel, and we're really, really excited about it.
All right, Pat, as always, we love talking to you, and we can't wait to talk to you again before the October race.
All right. Well, I look forward to talking to you guys again soon, and I really appreciate you having me on.
Have a good one, Pat. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
KansasSpeedway.com or call 866-460-RACE. That's 866-460-7223. Youth tickets. Listen, I'll tell you, I'm really actually kind of glad you brought that up. The first time I went to Kansas Speedway and watched a race there, I was sitting in the concourse eating some food. Shocker.
Yeah.
And there was a lady there who had an infant with her and had the headphones on, and the infant was just kind of holding in her arms. And I kind of tapped on her shoulder and I said, "Did you have to buy her a full price ticket?" And she said, "Yeah, I had to buy this infant, not even 6 months old, a full price ticket. And now, if she wants to take that infant to a race, it's gonna only cost her $29 rather than a full price."
I'm looking at you right now going, if we clean shave you, you're already, pretty short, maybe put some baggy jeans on, you might pass for, 10, 12 years old.
I definitely would. That's why I have the facial hair, is because people quit mistaking me for being 10 years old.
All joking aside, though, I mean, what a great idea for them to market to the youth. And like Pat said, this is the future of the sport. They want to get the young people involved, make it feel like they have a say. It seems like every year, and I know almost every NASCAR track does something different from year to year, but Kansas seems like every year there's something different. They're making it bigger and better. A lot of times, whether it be a sport like racing or football or basketball, you can go too far, too much, too quick. Well, then there's really nothing to build on after that. But it seems like every year there's a steady progression where Kansas Speedway is always bringing something new and something fresh out.
They add one or two new things. And to be honest with you, I love this mobile app idea. They do a great job with their Facebook and Twitter
mark
page.
your car. Yeah. How brilliant. I could use that at the local Walmart.
I'm gonna actually, when we go down there in October, I'm gonna mark where you're at so I quit losing you. And we had to put out that Amber Alert for you one year. You just disappeared, and I think I found you in TJ Bell's hauler one day. Yeah. You were just hanging out. TJ wasn't there. You were just hanging out. All right, we've gone too long in this segment. We're going to come back in turn number 3 and discuss some of the news and notes that we didn't get to in turn number 1. We'll be back here on the front stretch.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest Best Battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.
At Quaker Steak and Lube, we're famous for 18 flavors of incredible wings, voted best wings in the USA. But ooh, baby, there's so much more. Ribs, steaks, burgers, specialty drinks, and drafts, all served up on a platter full of fun. Every night is hot at the Lube, and every Tuesday is all-you-can-eat wing night.
Great times, great food. Get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
So you raced your car this weekend and it ended up on the wrecker. Alter Metal Recycling in Council Bluffs wants to remind you it's not a total loss. Bring it by their modern scrap metal recycling facility and get top dollar for your car. Alter has a full concrete unloading zone, so you don't have to deal with muddy loading zones, and pays on the spot for your car. Alter Metal Recycling is open 6 days a week with locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and more. Find your location online at altertrading.com.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into Turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Heading into turn number 3 here on the front stretch, and turn 3 brought to you by Iowa Speedway at iowaspeedway.com. Got the flyers today for their season ticket holders and their everyday party goers. Let me tell you what, they have some awesome stuff lined up for you. For the May 17th NASCAR K&N Pro Series and the May 18th NASCAR Nationwide Series race, you can ride a bull, a mechanical bull. You can catch one of the Monster Energy stunt shows, hang with be a champion on the rock climbing wall, You can get an autograph from one of your favorite NASCAR, K&N Pro Series, and Nationwide drivers. Also, this is kind of a cool competition. Find the Logo Hunt card game. Go around Iowa Speedway, you find the logos. For everybody who gets all of the 8 logos correctly discovered and marked down, gets their name put into a drawing to win a luxury suite upgrade for the race. A lot of cool things going on at Iowa Speedway. You know, you and I kind of touched on it last weekend about, we kind of hoped that this wouldn't turn into like a corporate feel. I think they answered my questions.
That's kind of like a family could do that.
I think they answered my questions. It's not going to be a corporate. I mean, what kind of a corporate feel would have a mechanical bull named Pronto? In a rock climbing wall? It's going to be a great time. iowaspeedway.com for all your ticket information. Listen, there's a racer in every one of us. You know it. I know it. As I'm driving down the interstate and there's some guy that's coming up next to me, I see him in the mirror, I'll speed up to 70. And then if he's still
coming... Your truck goes that fast?
The Governor's at 94. We've talked about this. I know it's at 94. I've found it several times. In a completely legal environment, racing at legal places. There's a racer in everyone. Get to Iowa Speedway the weekend of May 17th and 18th. That happens to coincide with the NASCAR All-Star Race on Saturday night, so you can come out, watch the K&N Series, go back to your hotel room, watch the All-Star Race. Actually, after the K&N Series, Montgomery Gentry is playing. You know who those guys are.
Oh, yeah.
Tattoos and Scars.
Speed.
That fantastic band. They'll be playing a live concert after the K&N Series, so you can watch that, and then come back the next day for the NASCAR Nationwide Series on Sunday afternoon.
No, you know, you've talked about Iowa Speedway in the past. It's got that dirt track feel.
Very
it's
much
not
so.
too big, not too small, perfect size, great seats, great track, great racing. I think you've probably been there, 4 or 5 times watching. I've been there once or twice. Great facility. I mean, wow. But it does have that dirt track feel. Me being a dirt racer, I kind of like getting my, a little bit of dust in my beer.
Yeah.
But, hey, go to Iowa Speedway and get a little rubber dust in your beer.
Exactly. I was going to say that. I was like, yeah, he got it. He got the point. Good job. It's an absolute fantastic time. I love going there. It's just down the road. And by the way, Joe Koziski, I know you listen to this show. I know you take some cues from other tracks because you're a smart promoter. Get a mechanical bull for the Silver Dollar Nationals.
My ex-wife might be able to donate her time.
Oh, easy now. All right, let's change subjects real quick. NASCAR met with Michelin just days after the race at Richmond International Raceway. They sat down with Michelin. Now, Michelin is their tire provider for the NASCAR European Series, and they met at the R&D Center, which the story on J-Ski that we were reading leads nothing into NASCAR is exploring replacing or bringing in another competitor for the Sprint Cup Nationwide or Truck Series. But I want to ask the question to you, buddy. Is it time for there to be another competitor for Goodyear?
Goodyear's been around for so long that it's just NASCAR just wouldn't feel like NASCAR without Goodyear. But at the same time, I do like the idea of allowing another tire manufacturer to come in. Who's to say that we have to stay with Goodyear? But who's to say that we have to stay with Michelin or Firestone or whoever that manufacturer is? I mean, you could do so many things where, you could have Firestone for certain races, Michelin for certain races. I mix it up a little bit. I think it'd be neat. And then look at the drivers. You have a lot of drivers, more so today than what there was 10, 15 years ago, that are now team owners. Tony Stewart being a prime example of that. How many times has Tony Stewart came out and called out Goodyear for the tires that they've made on their tracks?
Well, he's only actually done it once.
Well, he's done it a couple times.
I only remember once when he said he was going home and taking Goodyear off of everything on his property.
Yeah.
And then after that, he's kind of calmed down.
But when you see team owners and whatnot, and we have seen issues with Goodyear tires blown apart, and some of that could be attributed to the teams. I don't think Goodyear's completely off the hook with that, but I do like the idea of possibly seeing a different manufacturer in there. Open it up. Let's see what the others have to offer.
I guess what I envisioned when I see another competitor coming in for Goodyear is that teams have a choice to go as an organization with Goodyear, much like Penske has the decision to go with Chevy, Toyota, Ford, or maybe even back to Dodge if that happens someday. And right now they're Ford manufacturers. That's where I kind of see this going, that it's not necessarily that Goodyear has exclusive rights, but that they have to compete for these teams' rights. And I wonder if it really makes me. I'm a worry wart. You may have noticed this. I worry about the smallest, dumbest little details. But to be honest with you, you and I were talking about it. I think the racing right now is absolutely phenomenal.
I think this is the best start to any season that we've had in as long as I can remember. I mean, you're not seeing the single file follow the leader, from green, white, checkered finish, basically. You're seeing, that Richmond race, oh my God, who'd have thought Logano was going to come back and win that? Man. I mean, if you miss those last 3 or 4 laps, that's nobody's fault but your own.
Oh, you missed those last 20 laps, even the last 30 laps, and that was fantastic.
And then was it the week before where Kyle Busch in the 18 M&Ms, Toyota, he had to go to the back of the pack, and then he drove all the way up to the front in just a number of laps. Mm-hmm. I mean, the racing has been phenomenal. The new chase format, I think, has bred a lot of that. We've talked about this year, a lot of the teams that were at best mediocre all of a sudden are starting to be contenders. It's exciting to watch that. And no disrespect to Jimmy Johnson, but I love the fact that it's not Jimmy up front. It's not Jimmy this, Jimmy that, Jimmy this.
I want to bring up a point to you, though, that Kevin Harvick and Jimmy Johnson are getting the most media coverage right now. For the first 9 races, Kevin Harvick leads with media coverage, followed by Jimmy Johnson.
Well, yeah, but that's to be expected. But it just seems, in my opinion, it feels like they've backed off Jimmy Johnson a little bit. But Jimmy Johnson, don't worry about the media. Just on the track, I mean, at the Richmond race, he didn't look that strong.
You never really heard from him much.
No.
Until he had that tire issue.
And it sucks that he was in that predicament, but at the same time, it was kind of nice to see some of the young blood, the fresh blood up there. It's this year, you look at the rookies that we have in the NASCAR. Look at Dylan and Larson, Young Money. I mean, these guys are coming out. They're not riding around the back. They're not being parking or starting parks.
And we have a great rookie class this year.
Oh, yeah, great. If not one of the best of all time, I think.
I think this is, cumulatively, I think this is one of the best.
There's a lot going on for NASCAR, but, back to the whole tire thing.
To go back to my thought process that it's going so good right now that I am not wanting to change anything. And I like Goodyear's stance on this. I want to try to get them on the phone and try to talk to them again to kind of clarify some of the things that have been going wrong. We got to talk to them in Kansas last year.
We learned a lot right there.
Oh, God. And
they were so nice.
Things they have coming up. I mean, it's exciting to hear some of the innovations that they're trying to roll out into the next year.
You think a tire's round and black, but when we started talking to the Goodyear guys, you and I are like, really? That's cool.
But I don't want to change anything up right now. I think it's going great. And
their contract's through 2017, so you can calm down. Nothing's going to happen.
I think I'm against having another competitor come in. Because Goodyear has had, 40, 50 years with NASCAR.
Oh,
they have all of that history. Yes, they have a bad race from time to time. And let's be completely honest here. Drivers and teams are terrible about taking responsibility. Some of them are, and most of these tire issues are because they're running way too much camber in their fronts and their rears, and that's causing a lot of these issues. So to bring in, let's say Michelin or Firestone comes in, they're not going to be able to compete at Goodyear's level. They're not going to be able to be there to have all of that research and development done to be able to really compete. So it would be incredibly difficult and frankly, a very tough decision for NASCAR to open it up to anybody else. And I think if Firestone or Michelin were allowed to come in, it would be a very tough sell to get anybody to switch to them.
I am a big proponent of the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm also a big proponent that, change, as we know, is the spice of life. Things have to evolve. Things have to change from time to time. Mm-hmm.
You got if you're not innovating,
keep your options open. I'm not saying that you get rid of NASCAR, but look at Michelin, look at Firestone, look at Pirelli, look at some of these other tire manufacturers. Look at Hoosier. Who's to say that there couldn't be another viable option out there? Just keep it open. But I like the idea that they could be looking at something coming down the road.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back in turn 4 to wrap this all up and to preview Kansas Speedway. Well, what left we have to preview, I think Pat Warren
pretty much covered it.
Pretty much got it all done for us. We'll be right back here on the front stretch.
This week's Young Gun on the front stretch is Derek Husted. a 17-year-old junior at East High School in Sioux City. Derek is in his 4th year driving IMCA hobby stocks. He's got 2 wins at his home track of Raceway Park in Jefferson, South Dakota. Despite being only 17 and racing 3 nights a week, Derek still finds time to make sure his homework is done right and done on time. Derek plans on racing Buena Vista Raceway in Alta, Iowa, Crawford County Speedway in Denison, Iowa, and Park Jefferson in South Dakota this season, along with holding a steady job at the local Hy-Vee. Derek loves the support of his friends, family, and loyal sponsors like Stokes Lawn Care, GNC Full Service Station, Fly & J Fabrication, and more. Keep your eye out for the orange, purple, and black number 01 IMCA hobby stock of Derek Husted. He's this week's young gun on the front stretch.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the front stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
About ready to wrap this baby up. We are heading into turn number 4. Brought to you by Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Since racing is back at noon today, Talladega Super Speedway, you better believe that all the action will be on the screens at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs, Mid-American Drive, next to the Mid-America Center, AMC Theaters, Joe's Karting, all over in that little area. And get to Quaker Steak and Lube today. Best wings in town, great steaks, fantastic burgers, and they actually do have kind of this habanero mango salmon is a pretty healthy alternative. And holy God, is that good? I've had that several times.
I had something that I don't normally eat. I was over there for my manager's meeting on Tuesday. Had a club. I can't remember the name.
Sandwich?
The club sandwich. Oh my God. That was probably the best club I've ever eaten in my life.
I wonder if, oh man. Thursday nights is classic car nights. Wednesday night is bike night. And then there's all you can eat Tuesdays. There's boneless wings on Wednesday. There's kids eat free on Mondays.
Did you give up trying to eat all the wings?
No, I will never give up.
How many wings have you made it so far? Are you up to 10 yet?
No, I've eaten about 18 at one time.
18. So a far cry from what the 150-pound girl did.
275 wings. She set a company record, not just in Council Bluffs, but a Quaker Steak and Lube company record. Yeah.
Do you think she vomited?
No.
Really?
No. It's all about training your stomach.
Wow.
Hey, let's talk Joe's Dirt Series. Apparently that's going on now?
Yeah, actually, really...
I changed subjects on you really quickly just to see if you were ready, and the answer is no. Sorry. I'll keep doing some sponsor reads while you get your stuff together.
Get your
ducks in a line. Oh, okay. Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Get to the lube today, the official watering hole of the front stretch.
Yep.
We'll talk.
Oh, well, I didn't know this was like editable.
No, I pointed to you to.
Did I say edible?
Talking. I don't know. We're talking about food.
Yeah. So. No, the Dirt Track Series through Joe's.
My God, this has gone off the rails. And this is all staying in the show, by the way.
I'm like Juan Montoya
this is good
hitting
stuff.
the jet dryer right now.
We've got 7 minutes left in the show. You better get your Dirt Series in quick.
No, the Dirt Series, this is the 4th year for the Dirt Series through Joe's. You pay $20, you claim your nights up front. It's kind of like put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Something drivers aren't good at.
Yeah. Some shall remain nameless. But yeah, you claim your schedule up front, and then it's based off of a 1,200-point schedule. So on 30 nights, you have to claim a minimum 10, no more than 30. A 30-night schedule, I use IMCA scoring for points.
Yeah.
40 points a win. 30 times 40 is 1,200 points. Jim Bob comes up and goes, well, I'm not like Buddy Ray. I'm only going to race 10 nights with my Sport Compact. Take the same 1,200 points divided by 10 nights. Make sure a feature win with 120 points. Evens it out that way, and then you get bonus points over at Joe's. But we did a couple things this year. We added $1,000 to the pot. Last year we had 30 drivers. Now we have 38. So it's gotten bigger. But here's the kicker. First place right now pays out about $422 roughly and some change. 10th place pays out almost $60 just for a one-time $20 entry fee, and you're already letting your A feature do the work for you, whatever you do in the A feature. But we have some other great prizes available. We have two ID Speedway. They're going to put $100 towards 2 NASCAR licenses for 12th and 13th in points as long as you're a NASCAR eligible driver. IMCA, or actually Scott Brothers Racing, their dad John Scott. Mm-hmm. They're going to pay $100 towards your IMCA license in 2015 to the highest ranking IMCA registered driver. We have a $40 gift card going to the highest kart racing finalist in the series.
Cool.
We have 8 hours of engine dyno time up for grabs to the lowest. Whoever drives a V8 powered race car, so basically stock car, hobby stock, late model, a modified, a sprint car, whoever has the lowest amount of points in the series will get the 8 hours of engine dyno time so they can get better for 2015.
That's awesome.
So I spread it around. I don't give it all to the top-notch guys. And then here's the kicker. You have until May 31st, because come June 1st, the series is locked. No one's allowed to enter it.
And how do they enter?
You can just call me over at the track, 712-256-5278, or you can email me at buddyj, B-U-D-D-Y, letter J, at joeskarting.com. Nobody at the track has anything to do with the Dirt Series. I run everything my own. I secure the sponsors. I take care of all of it. So if you call over there and you get Nicole or somebody, they're going to be like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right, because it's your little deal.
Yep, it's my little deal.
It's turning into a big deal.
And it's turned into a big deal. Ideally, I would love to see the day where I have 50, 60 drivers because, man, it could pay out a ton. Yeah. I get up to 100 drivers. We could potentially be talking about a $1,000 payout. And you go to a lot of these tracks. I won't name tracks, but a lot of these tracks, you'll get, 80, 90 drivers at the end of the season in the point standings.
Yeah.
Well, they're only going to get, pay out, top 2 or 3, and you might get $100. Mm-hmm. I have 38, and I'm already paying out $400. Wow. So think about that. Proportionally, I'm kicking the tracks and sanctioning bodies' butts.
And it's not necessarily that, let's say everything's locked down today, you've got 38 drivers, that $400 is locked and set. There's also, whenever you go in and race, as a driver of the series, every race, Joe's puts more into the pot.
Yeah, so every time you come into Joe's and you buy a race for bonus points, $1.50 goes back in the pot. So, as of this Sunday, we're at $422. Well, guess what? If you're a series driver in the Dirt Series and you come in and you buy 4 or 5 races, well, that pot's only going to get bigger.
Yeah, $423.50 all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah, all of a sudden.
Every single race.
But, every position goes up.
Buddy J at joeskarting.com is where you send the information to.
Look us up on the Facebook, Joe's Karting Dirt Track Series.
Yep.
That's the name of the page. Tried to make it simple.
Made it much simpler than I'm not even going to screw it up. But speaking of that charity organization that you run, how's that going?
The Holiday Horsepower Drive going really, really good. We had a car show, lower turnout, but it was rainy, dreary, so that killed it. We are looking at doing it again next year. And you might want to put this on the Front Stretch page, Dan, on Facebook. We've got our T-shirts and our hoodies on order, and I just sent the first order in. I got you a 4XL because
slim one. You got me that small one to show off my lumps.
Yeah, your lovely man lumps. So, but we got those coming. On the T-shirts, they're $20. $5 more shipped to you. The hoodies are $35 or $5 more shipped to you. And then a good chunk of that, the money goes back to the Holiday Horsepower Drive so we can take care of the kids at Christmas time.
Ooh, are they black this year?
They are black. And if you notice, it's got my dad's car and my car on there.
Yeah.
So they're very, very flashy compared. Last year's shirts were awesome. You don't see too many blue shirts.
Yeah.
But this year,
I tell you, they stand out so much. I can pick that blue shirt out of a crowd of anywhere. I saw them at I-80 before. So at Nationals, I've seen them. A crowd of 1,000, 2,000
You can
people.
see the 2 people that are wearing them.
So, mission accomplished.
Yeah. We actually, some people, the black shirts, with that being said, the black shirts are very, very flashy. The colors jump off the fabric. Every year I try to do something different with the bodies, the looks of the car, stuff like that. So, come next year, we'll have fun, and we'll have a new look. Maybe we'll go silver shirts or something.
C-Bisma did that for you?
C-Bisma race wraps and graphics.
Very nice design. He does really good work.
Oh, he does awesome work.
Maybe we can get him to touch up our front stretch logo that I created in Microsoft Paint.
I think a 5-year-old could have done something.
I'm not a professional. I did it in like 10 minutes and it works.
It shows.
It works. It gets the job done. All right, so Holiday Horsepower Drive is the Facebook page. Holiday Horsepower Drive. Find it on Facebook, and you can also order the pages. So, let's see what else we got. Okay, Talladega coming up at noon today. Make sure to get your picks in for the Pick'ems contest. Did
I move up in points?
Nope. I think you jumped 1 or 2 positions.
Hey, that's a move up.
The only reason why you jumped was because Andrew and Harley didn't make picks.
Hey.
It's you know what? You made it. Who cares how you got there? You got there.
You got to play to win. So
right, and they didn't play. Andrew, you want to take your headphones off real quick while I kind of make fun of you? I do kind of find it funny that Andrew hasn't picked 3 races this year, and yet he finally got past my buddy.
That's sad. But really, when you look at my picks, do you still see me struggling throughout the year?
Yeah, I think I've lost faith in you. Although the 47 pick was a really good pick. I was very impressed with that when I saw that come across. Before we wrap the show up, make sure you email me, frontstretch590@gmail.com. If you want to get in the contest for the autographed hats, you can go on Facebook and check out all of the pictures of the hats.
And whatever you do, for the listeners out there, make sure you go to joeskarting.com. There's a little pre-register in the upper right-hand corner.
It's very
Register
simple.
your name. Easy. It's free. If you haven't registered, I can't award you your free races if you've won races through the Pick'ems contest.
And then you're depending on Buddy's memory, and I think we all know where that leads.
That's gone straight to heck.
We appreciate you joining us this week. Next week, we'll be live after Kansas Speedway to wrap up all of the 5-Hour Energy 400. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next weekend to do it all again.
So you raced your car this weekend, and it ended up on the wrecker. Alter Metal Recycling in Council Bluffs wants to remind you it's not a total loss. Bring it by their modern scrap metal recycling facility and get top dollar for your car. Alter has a full concrete unloading zone, so you don't have to deal with muddy loading zones, and pays on the spot for your car. Alter Metal Recycling is open 6 days a week, with locations in Omaha, Lincoln, Grand Island, and more. Find your location online at altertrading.com.
Driving home from work, you try to beat your best time. Even though your neighbor started mowing first, you finish first. And when you see the shortest checkout line, you race to it. That's because there's a race fan in all of us. Experience a different kind of race at Iowa Speedway on May 18th for the NASCAR Nationwide Series 250. Tickets start at $20. Buy your tickets at iowaspeedway.com or call 866-RUSTY-GO.
For 50 years, Eagle Raceway has been pushing the limits of dirt track racing. Saturday nights, come see the Midwest Best Battle at the fastest third-mile track. Gates open at 5:30 for IMCA Modifieds, Sport Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Sport Mods, and Race Saver Sprint Cars. Eagle kicks their season off on April 19th with the Icebreaker Challenge, featuring the debut of the Race Saver Sprint Cars. Located just 10 minutes east of Lincoln on Highway 34 and online at eagleraceway.com.